projects that are,
Yeah, I saw it. I
in
just
works.
can't remember what all there was.
yeah, there's quite a bit. Some of them
Hey, Chris.
waiting for that. Building permit, we know that one.
Your
Had a guy
YouTube's
come talk to
rolling.
me the other day.
Over
He
Meadows
was thinking
8.
about who wants to put like an automatic car washer in here. Like,
Don't we already have?
we don't have any touchless automatics, nope. Like a touchless automatic could be huge. None of them are touchless. Tell him to go talk to Pine River Commons people. He wanted to do it over there by Tractor Supply, and it's like, "Hey, have you looked at that property yet?" Like, yeah, whatever. Look into that property a little bit before you.
Well, don't we have, let's see.
It's very preliminary,
Upper
like,
Pine is going to go southwest corner of Bayfield Center Drive in Sour across from Dollar General and True Value.
Are we all
right
ready?
there in the corner. Yep.
Rolling?
Yeah, your eye doesn't really know, cause he didn't set any of this up right, you know, so he doesn't.
We'll call the meeting to order at 6:31. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Here.
Commissioner Tenza,
Here,
Mayor Ah,
Here.
Commissioner O'Shea Heidinger. Here. Commissioner Evans. Chair Gad.
Here.
Thank you.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
look like the wind's blowing. I'd be in Florida.
I open up general public input, limited to 10 minutes, 3 minutes per speaker.
I have nobody online, so it's just us.
Okay. Planning commissioners disclose conflicts of interest.
None.
See none. Entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I so move.
Second?
Roll call.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Tenza,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Shea Heidinger,
Yes.
Mayor Ah,
Yes.
Chair Gad.
Yes. Since we have no public hearing agenda, we'll move on to item 3, the action agenda. Agenda 3A, approval of September 10th, 2024 minutes.
I move we approve the minutes of September 10th, 2024.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Tenza,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Shea Heidinger,
Abstain.
Mayor Ah,
Yay.
Chair Gad.
Yes.
Thank you.
3B, Planning Commission member recommendation.
Yeah, so we do have letters for the Planning Commission member recommendation. Currently, we still have a vacancy, and we haven't gotten a letter for the vacancy that took place a couple months ago. We did not hear from Jason Evans regarding his interest in continuing on the Planning Commission, but we did get a letter from Commissioner O'Shea Heidinger and Commissioner Tenza. And so Ms. Nicole Killian has provided basically the possible recommendations to recommend those to the Board of Trustees. The Board of Trustees basically make that final appointment. We're just asking for your recommendation to continue those two on the Planning Commission.
So, with not getting a letter from Commissioner Evans, we
I did not
assume
get a
he's
letter, and yeah.
Not gonna do it anymore?
Well, from his conversations with Ms. Killian is that he just stated that he's going to school. He was going to have classes and just felt like it was too time consuming and was going to get a letter about something else, but not necessarily about staying on the Planning Commission.
Okay.
I must have missed that at the last meeting. What letter are we talking about? I wasn't at the last meeting, so what letter is it that we're talking about?
So currently, Commissioners Tenza, Commissioner O'Shea Heidinger, and Commissioner Evans, their terms were up in 2024. And this is your annual meeting for the Planning Commission.
So you need a motion.
Yes, you will make a recommendation to the board.
I'll make the motion that we accept the two planning commissioner members that are still interested in being on.
You want to make a recommendation to have the Board of Trustees approve them and appoint them on the Planning Commission.
So moved.
I'll second that.
I have it, if you want to just read the motion.
Oh,
Yeah, if you have to read to.
I can do that. Make a motion, we recommend to the Board of Trustees approval, to approve the renewal terms for Commissioners Tenziga and Commissioner O'Shea Haydinger.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Tenza,
Can I vote yes? Okay, yes.
Commissioner O'Shea Heidinger,
Yes.
Mayor Ah,
Yes.
Chair Gad.
Yes.
Thank you.
For a comprehensive plan implementation update memo.
Yes, so Ms. Killian provided you the Planning Commission information, just so I don't want to pass over that too fast. The bylaws are basically in the packet that you had as well. And that packet, anytime you decide you'd like to change the bylaws in that, certainly let us know so that we can review any changes that you'd have. Regarding the comprehensive plan, the implementation update, Ms. Killian basically provided an update of where we are now, where we are headed, where we want to go, and how do we get there. So there were definitely some substantial updates, and it was adopted last year, just a little bit, almost quite a year ago. And now she basically has some items that she has worked on. So the first one, the develop standards for guidelines to enhance aesthetic value and sustainability, character specifics within town. So looked at adopting standards to minimize light pollution. Obviously, that was denied at the last meeting. And I think that what I kind of got is about the building codes, and they don't necessarily conflict with the building codes. But I think it'd probably be good at some point, maybe when there was a work session between the Planning Commission and the Board of Trustees, just to kind of understand what dark sky is. A lot of people believe there's less light for security, and actually, when you take away the glare, that some lighting provides, sometimes you can actually see more at night than you can. So anyway, certainly understand that we went through that process. And we were a partner in the dark sky lighting regulations. Create an agricultural zoning district in the Bayfield land use code. There was kind of a committee that has been going on for a couple months, and that was approved, recommended by the Planning Commission to send to the Board of Trustees, and they did approve that. So that ordinance will be effective. I think here in a couple days regarding the agricultural zone, and we'll kind of see where that goes. Let's see here. The highway pedestrian crossing, basically we worked on that. There was not a need to have that pedestrian crossing basically at Colorado Avenue across basically to the pawn shop. So we have closed that project right now. At some point, there may be a need. We will certainly hope that the east intersection, the lighted signal, will slow traffic down in a couple of years, depending on where that goes. SEH is the engineer on that project, and of course, there's still going to be, as we work on the east intersection, I'm sure that there'll be a lot more information between the Planning Commission and the Board of Trustees as well. She's got prioritized the design and funding for the new Bayfield East intersection with Highway 160. We do have some funding, and of course, basically to make sure that we stay on top of that at the Southwest TPR. Trustee Nyberg is that a representative. I'm also an alternative on the Southwest TPR, so we'll make sure that we keep that information up there. Create a stormwater plans and evaluate them regularly. So the enterprise is adopted. The enterprise was adopted by the board last year. The fee was adopted this year by the Board of Trustees. And we're just about ready to get the final stormwater feasibility master plan. And that there will be a public hearing on that on November 5th. So that'll be a public hearing with rates, the budget, and all kinds of things. So, certainly encourage all citizens to show up for that.
It's gonna be on November 5th, you said?
Yes, that is election day.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
But that's also our meeting day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So vote early.
The polling place is at the library. It is not here.
Okay.
I know that in the past it's been here on election day, but it's at the library. But the ballot box is still out front. So other land use changes that she has: the dog license code amendments, the pet store code amendments, the FEMA amendments, nuisance code amendments, noxious weed code amendments, Chapter 10 Muni code amendments, sign and vacation code, rental code amendments. I know that either you're aware of those, or if you'd like more information, we can certainly get that for you. But there has been quite a few codes. I know Nicole tried to wrap everything up in a tight little package.
I have a question about the SEH pedestrian crossing analysis report.
Yes.
I've been an advocate ever since I've lived in Bayfield for getting some type of a safe pedestrian crossing. And their analysis showed that there's no need based on pedestrian counts. I never let my kids cross the highway until they were 12 or 13 years old. Their pedestrian count is not a good measure of how much use there would be. There's so many people that won't let their kids cross the highway.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we paid them $30,000, but I believe it's a faulty analysis.
Well, you have to keep in mind that CDOT is looking at the analysis the way the way it's set up for them to even consider that funding. And so based on their criteria, it fails to meet the need for a pedestrian crossing.
And that's what
Do we need a pedestrian crossing there? Yes.
Yes.
Will it increase pedestrian traffic? Yes. But how you get there, the CDOT is synonymous for, you want to slow traffic down, and they'll take speed counts or vehicle traffic, and then if it's going 55, you can actually go the opposite. They can actually raise the speed limit on the highway. So we really have to follow their criteria, and we fall into that category that it was not necessarily at this time.
I would appeal that.
Yeah, I think most of us would.
We just need that $600,000 for that east stoplight, and that'll help.
Yeah.
Anybody got a, bank account sitting somewhere we don't know about? It's a bummer.
I think maybe the other piece, just to hit on it again, is the lighting and the dark skies, and make sure staff is hearing us and kind of what we talked about at our last meeting. Is I don't think, and I think we tried to say, like, we're in favor of some lighting regulations and putting that out there, that we want to see something that's not a free-for-all. But there was a lot of stuff in the document that we reviewed last month, that seemed like we went from nothing to extreme. And I think we need to find that middle ground somewhere in there that's something that we could work with a little bit more, so. I think we need something, but not to the extreme that document went.
So in some cases, there's the encouragement, we ask you to be more a little conscientious about watering your lawn when it's been raining out. So maybe something like that, to that effect, that, voluntary and do more education before there's any actual regulation in place.
Yeah, and I think, some common sense regulation, you're not putting a spotlight out in front of your house or putting the spotlight on your flagpole, some things like that, or doubling the amount of light that code would require. There was stuff in there that you couldn't put street lights out on a road. Like, that made zero sense to me. Or you can't see the lamp from the street. Like, in some cases, some fixtures are there for a reason. So, I don't know, I just wanted to put that out there.
That's good
again.
information.
Does anybody disagree with that?
No, there's questions about the types of lights too, and how much output they had as compared to, I don't remember exactly what Jason was saying there, but I think you'd still need, the lights were the same cost, but you would need 2 lights to get the same amount of lighting than you would with a regular light, so it's actually costing more. It's not per fixture, it's per output.
Yeah, I was in a VRBO last weekend that had the shielded light on the front of it and the 5-foot sidewalk out front, and it didn't even light up the furthest side of the sidewalk away from the house. Like, it barely even got down to the sidewalk. So,
Okay.
And the conflict in the codes from, like, what was he saying, like the fire code and the building code compared to the lighting code? And I didn't know where he was going with all that. That's way more than he knows all those codes and I don't.
yeah, I think a lot of it was having to have certain light levels at certain locations and along a exit pathway, and having to put twice as many light fixtures out there to achieve that versus one light fixture that would do it, so.
Sure.
Anything else on that?
I have a question. The town adopted the $10 stormwater utility fee.
That's correct.
We still haven't seen any bills. What's going on with utility bills?
So we had a little glitch with our billing system. We've had meter issues in the August billing. So in September, we kind of got to a point where we just needed, because we had some staff shortages as well. We needed to kind of take a breath and say, we did training with our financial and utility software people. They're called Cassell on the 2nd of October. We're going to kind of regroup either the end of this week or next week, and we'll probably do a September billing. It's going to be late, but we're trying to make sure that it's correct and not that you get $11,000 bill and go, oh, well, now what do I do? So that's what we were having, some real issues with meters.
Okay. So we will see a bill sometime.
You will see bills sometime. We're putting together a project to make sure that we get a mailer out to every utility owner, to make sure they know kind of what's going on. We're going to have some schedule changes, closing a little bit, or opening a little bit later on Mondays and Wednesdays and closing a little bit earlier, so staff can get caught up, because when you're short-staffed and we're really trying to figure out how to do everything, and doing it wrong has not been beneficial.
Okay, so October 15th, 2024 will be the next Board of Trustees meeting. November 12th, 2024 will be the next Planning Commission meeting. And entertain a motion to adjourn.
I have a question before we adjourn. I was looking at some of the projects that are on the table, so to speak, for the town. The Upper Pine River Fire Petition District new fire station, status that I had here was site plan review process. Where are we at with that one?
I don't know if Dan knows that, has an answer to that question. The Upper Pine Fire News Station, the site review, is that done by Dan Naaman?
I'd have to get back to you guys on that.
Okay.
I'm Jay with SEH. I'm the contract planner. Interim as Nicole left last week. I was at a conference traveling last week. I just got back to work yesterday, and so I'll be here today for a little bit after, and then on Thursday. And so I could get back to you guys on that type of stuff once I get my head wrapped around.
Next meeting's good, I
So,
think.
yeah.
Just to
There's some
kind of,
additional information that they need to provide before they can complete that site review.
okay,
And those requests have been sent back, and so we're waiting for the additional documentation. So.
good enough
just,
for me.
From the best of my understanding, it wasn't a complete submittal, and they needed a few other documents. I don't know exactly what those were. So the ball's rolling. We just need a few more documents.
Fair enough, thank you. That's all for me. I move we adjourn meeting.
A second.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
You guys are supposed to make this go to 8. So
We'll get some lunch.
I got free time, I guess I'll get a snack.
There goes your overtime, Jeremy.
You don't get overtime.
Practice is done at 8. I don't know what to do now. I got an hour to kill.
Now, there's always Porky's.
Hey, leadership goals.